Ooh, we are officially a quarter of the way through the season. Welcome to the next Gatorade Fantasy Football Podcast. And, after a quarter of the way, some of us are better off than others. We actually have a miracle. Every team finally has a win. Congratulations to Frank for getting his first win, and haha for Angel being the one to give it to Frank. Or taking it from Frank, if we want to put it that way. The season's starting to get bleak for a few people and getting a little bit brighter for some. Some people going up and down, some steady rise. There's a lot going on right now. We might have a longer podcast today as we have a few more trades to go through, injuries and everything. And I actually have a special segment for you guys today, and that will be all the way at the end, so hopefully you guys can listen. But first, of course, we go through our usual injury, then game reviews, trade reviews, and after that, new segment. All right, let's kick it off. Injuries. At quarterback, we have Marcus Mariota with a strained hamstring. Supposed to be day-to-day, might not miss a week, we don't know yet. We also have Derek Carr with back spasms and something with like sand in vagina syndrome. To be true, Jack Del Rio, I believe he said he had a back contusion or something, but he'll be out for 2 to 6 weeks, so we'll see how that goes. For running back, we have Ty Montgomery with some rib injury, Chris Carson broken ankle, he's on the injured reserve, Jamal Williams with a strained knee, and the biggest injury of the week, Dalvin Cook with a torn ACL. That one's gotta hurt. Excuse me. Moving on to wide receivers, we have Julio Jones, who had a back injury last week but a hip injury this week, so he's day to day. We'll see how he is. Devontae Adams with that big hit he got as a concussion, supposedly fine day to day. They'll see how he is. Kenny Golladay with a hamstring, and Jordan Matthews with a thumb. He had surgery probably a month or so out. Just had to put a pin in his thumb. And for tight ends, as always, we have Jordan Reed, just because, he bought a timeshare on the injury report. And that's it for injuries. Let's move on to the game reviews. And for the first game review, we actually have the closest game of the week. We have Pocket Dogs at slight work with a score of 126.7 to 122.7. Another huge game by Todd Gurley. He's really making some waves with his third game in a row with over 25 points, and his actual second in a row with 34 plus. He also had 22 points by a dominant Texas defense, and it helped mitigate duds by Coleman and Justin Tucker. Luckily for him, luckily for Jordan, he was saved by the number 2 QB in the league, Alex Smith, who dropped 26 points in the Monday night game to actually give him the lead. For Manny, it was another 120 plus point game, his third of the season, second in a row, and the only team to score at least 100 points in each game. Pretty nice, but it doesn't matter, because you score enough to beat every other team except the one you were playing. It sucks donkey taint. Doesn't matter. He had Jordy Nelson with another 20-point bomb, and the first 20-point game by Leonard Fournette. Decent games all around, except from J.J. and Antonio Brown. At least Antonio Brown played an elite defense. J.J. not so much, but that probably has to deal with the London game, because London hasn't been very kind to running backs too much. But, on to the next one. Second game of the week, we have Say Hello to the Bad Guy at Fail Mary. With a score of 84.3 to 108.8. Reg probably endured the worst injury of the week. Well, of course, with star rookie running back Dalvin Cook going down with a torn ACL, out for the season. But luckily, he has the RB depth to survive it, And the newly arrived Dak Prescott led the way with 22 points, even though it wasn't enough. Del Mundo here, he bounces back with after last week's loss to jump to 3-1. And there's a Le'Veon Bell we all know and love. It hurts a little bit because it was against my Ravens, but 35 carries, pretty good game for him. Also, Lamar Miller played like he was back in Miami with efficiency and explosiveness. The Texans dropped 57 points on the Titans. It's no buenos, but good game for Josh to get back. And sorry to Reds dropping to 2-2. Moving on to the third game of the week, we have Fried Spam and Eggs at Evil Doc with a score of 62.5 to 69.1. Angel is a Saints fan. Actually, first let me start over. This is the ugliest game of the year, with neither team scoring more than 70 points. And even though Frank got his first win of the year, he probably still has scored the least amount of points in the league. And the only one that's giving him a run for his money is probably TJ. We'll see. I'll count it up later, let y'all know. But as I was saying earlier, Angel is a Saints fan. That has to be the only reason why he started Adrian Peterson. Because him and the other starting running back Theo Riddick scored a combined 2.1 points. But that was more than Demaryius Thomas, who had 1.6. At least he has Drew Brees. Right, guys? Right. And Frank wins, finally, after he gives Brandon Cooks away for free, and then he trades away his best receiver and Stephon Diggs. He pulls off his first win of the season. Luckily led by Keenan Allen with 16 points, and he's gonna need help because 69 isn't gonna get him winning most weeks. Congratulations though, and you still suck, both of you. Moving on to the fourth game of the week, we have Barkin' Guns at Hard Knocks with a score of 57.9 to 103.3. Trey with scoring less than 60 points. Is this a result of trading away DeMarco Murray? Not really, because Murray sucked it up with the rest of the Titans. It's just bad luck all the way around. He had 7 players under 10 points, 4 of those players under 5. You just can't win fantasy football games that way, And Josh had another decent game from Tommy Brady and Ezekiel Elliott. At least Zeke put in work before his court date, which up in the air. Might find out more news tomorrow. We'll see how that goes. Might be gone for 6 games, might not. Who knows? And of course, like we said earlier, Julio is hurt again. This could leave his wide receiver core thin, considering Adam Thielen is hurting without a real quarterback playing. Sammy Biscuits has got to get back on that field. Without him, that passing offense might be a little bit dead in the water, which is not going to help that non-existent running game now with Dalvin Cook out. Oh, the Vikings aren't doing so well. Poor them. But let's move on. Actually, before we move on, I'm going to apologize for my voice. Still fighting a little cold right now. It is the season. Anyways, for the 5th game of the week, we have Tasha Rain at Team Darkness with a score of 122.2 to 97.9. Corey trades for Stephon Diggs and things turn around for him. It seems like he's a good luck charm this year. I'm not talking about Corey, I'm talking about Stephon Diggs. Because Manny had him, won big. Then traded him, won big. Then, oh, nope, actually, Frank never won. Never mind, take that back. But Corey had solid games from Devontae Freeman, CJ Anderson, Stephon Diggs, and Andre Ellington. And he had a monster game from near real-life bust, Devin Funchess. And moving on to TJ, he is the opposite of Manny. Manny has always scored 100 points in all his games and had multiple 120-point games. TJ has never scored 100 points in a single game and has multiple 50-point games. Sad face. Unfortunately for him, Amari Cooper is sucking it up. Hopefully that offense gets it up together. It is his 2nd game under 2 points. His 3rd game under 5.5 points. That's not good for someone who's drafted to be a wide receiver, a low-end 1, high-end 2. But I think with Derek Carr, when he comes back, they'll be able to put things together. Might be a buy low. But yeah, come on TJ, let's get it together. You're never going to win that long sought after championship. Don't you want your name engraved on the trophy? Let's go, man. Let's go. And for the last game of the week, we have Vitamin D at Motorboat Sons of Bitches with a score of 115.6 to 99.9. Wilson had another big game, 26 points to lead the way as the Seahawks defense also helped with another 22 points. Melvin Gordon was a little banged up from last week and it showed with his dud game at 3.4 points. Fred's guys didn't do that bad this week. Rivers had a nice game. Howard had an okay game. AJ Green and DeAndre Hopkins had good games, and Alshon didn't hurt. Oh, but the Patriots let the anemic Panthers drop 33 points on their ass for -1 point. No buenos. No buenos. And that wraps up all our game reviews. Like I said, just doing it quick. Got to get through some trade reviews and special segment. Alright, let's move on. And with our first trade review, we have Frank trades Delaney Walker and Stephon Diggs. Why? To Corey for Doug Martin, Jack Doyle, and the Benjamins, Kelvin and Travis. I've given my thoughts on Doug Martin. He can be elite, and every year I don't trust him. He has been, and every year that I do, he isn't. I don't this year. So with that airtight logic, I think he's the best player in this deal. But he barely inches ahead of Diggs. Diggs has started off hot the past couple of seasons and trailed off. Let's see if that changes this year. He's going to need Sam Bradford back, though. In this trade, the tight ends don't matter. Actually, none of them really matter past the top 4 or 5, because, you know, all you care about right now is Gronk, Kelsey, Zach Ertz. Eifert's always hurt. Jordan Reed is always hurt. And the rest are, boop. They're just boop. Anyways, the Benjamins here could help Frank this year, but he did lose out on Deontay Foreman and Sterling Shepard to roster those two. I think Shepard is better than Travis and just as good, if not a little bit better than Kelvin. I do give this trade to Corey because he picked up Devin Funchess and Mike Tolbert with the space he made with his 4-for-2 trade. And getting Stephon Diggs, Devin Funchess, and Mike Tolbert, I think is a little bit better than Doug Martin and Kelvin Benjamin. But we'll see. Only time will tell. And for the next trade, I don't know why Frank did this trade. He made a lot of questionable moves this year. Trading Brandon Cooks for Forte, then dropping Forte. What? But this one perplexes me the most. A Cowboy fan trades a top 12 to 15 QB for a wide receiver 3 right after he got a bunch of wide receivers from Corey. Ugh. Reggie wins this trade in a landslide. Come on, Frank. Do better, man. Do better. And for the last trade of the week, we have Manny trading Matt Stafford and Golden Tate to McHale for Marcus Mariota and Sammy Watkins. And I believe this trade can actually go either way. It depends on what you're looking for. Stafford is the safer QB with the higher floor and lower ceiling. Pass first offense, but it's dink and dunk. And with that in mind, it wouldn't be surprising that his number one target, Golden Tate, is the same way. Higher floor, lower ceiling. Dink and dunk pass first offense. On the other hand, Marcus Mariota has the lower floor and the higher ceiling. It's a run-heavy offense, but he can be incredibly efficient with his touchdowns, like he was last year, and is a threat to run, as he was this week, as he scored 2 touchdowns to get through 2 picks. And those touchdowns were rushing touchdowns, so it counted as like 3 passing touchdowns. Made his week a little decent and made the injury hurt a little less. But as I was saying, and continuing on that high floor, high ceiling, low ceiling, Sammy Watkins is probably a top 5 to 10 wide receiver talent wise, but he is incredibly injury prone, and he has Jared Goff as a QB. We don't know if he's a real quarterback or not. So far he is, but Sammy Watkins is also recovering from a concussion. McHale was able to upgrade his wide receiver while downgrading his backup quarterback. That's not bad. Manny was able to upgrade his quarterback while downgrading his flex. The winner is in the eye of the beholder. So who is to say who won this trade? McHale did. Yep, he did. Because Mariota got injured and Sammy shit the bed. Still concussed. Trading for someone just to watch them get injured. I love fantasy football. Don't you? And just a quick aside, notable pickups: Deontay Foreman for $5 and Sterling Shepard for $12 to Manny, Kenny Golladay for $4 to Reggie, Will Fuller for $0 to TJ. Nice move, because he scored 2 touchdowns. And I think the winner of this week was Corey with Devin Funchess, because he got him for $2, helped him win his week. TJ still lost. And Corey pretty much got him in that trade. I guess when you trade that 2 for 1, it helps and works out that way. So good job, guys. And now it's time for your special segment. This week I have a new segment called The Trade Machine. Ooh. Here, I'm going to list the top 5 trades that I wish would happen in this league that I think would actually help both teams. And no, don't worry, I'm not going to include myself. So don't think I'm here trying to use this to try to influence you. If you have someone I like, I've already approached you about them. Alright, well, here we go. Trade number 1. And also, these aren't in any particular order, just random. So don't think you're not special if you're towards the end. Trade number 1. Trey trades T.Y. Hilton to Jordan for Michael Crabtree. Ugh. Why Trey does this? He doesn't have many safe players outside of Zach Ertz and Emmanuel Sanders. Throwing Crabtree onto that roster, even though he's currently hurt, would help give him a more solid baseline that would help prop up the volatility of Mike Gillislee and Tyreek Hill. Unfortunately, this would break up his Ty Hills, though. And why would Jordan do this trade? His running backs, Hill and Gurley, or Hyde and Gurley, sorry, along with Alex Smith, give him a nice solid baseline. And his wide receivers, Evans is up and down, and Crabtree's safe. Decker was supposed to be safe, but Hilton would be a nice addition. And of course, in a couple of weeks, he would pair well, very well, I think, with Andrew Luck. What? I said it. That would be a nice stack to have for the latter part of the year. So, hey, maybe you guys can get something going. Let's move on to trade number 2. Here, I have TJ trading Amari Cooper and Jacquizz Rodgers to Frank for Ty Montgomery. Why TJ does this? Amari is a sell low right now, but he still has name value, and when Derek Carr comes back, he will get better. I think that team is too good to keep sucking. Yeah. And Jacquizz Rodgers loses most of his value week 5 when Doug Martin comes back. But who does he keep most of his value for? That's right, the Dougie owner. Yes. And who's that? Frank. What? Ty Montgomery, going on to TJ's team could also be a franchise keeper for TJ since he is younger than LaShawn McCoy. Something TJ should be looking into. Don't forget, I know some of you guys win now, win later. Those franchise keepers, they could be a big thing helping you set up your team for the long term. But let's move on. And why would Frank do this trade? Ty Montgomery had 2 good games and 2 bad ones. He is hurt right now, but he's most likely coming back next week. Excuse me. He is good, but Frank needs more overall help. He gets Doug Martin back from his suspension this weekend. Just in case he is a bit rusty, Jacquizz Rodgers is a nice handcuff. Also, he can help his thinning wide receiver core that only boasts Keenan Allen. Keenan Allen and Amari Cooper, that could end up being a nice wide receiver core later on in the future, especially after he traded Stephon Diggs. Come on, Frank. Do better. Alright, trade number 3. Corey trades CJ Anderson and Terrell Pryor Jr. to Fred for Frank Gore or Mike Ingram and Alshon Jeffrey. What? That's right. Why would Corey do this? He has a decent running back crew with Devontae Freeman, CJ Anderson, and Andre Ellington, who's a PPR beast, and I think will get better throughout the year as he starts shaking off that rust from not playing so much the past couple of years. But he lacks in wide receiver strength. Obtaining Diggs is nice, but everyone else on that team is underperforming. He gets a decent replacement. Both RBs have similar production so far and will probably continue to be a low-end RB2 rest of the season. And I'm talking about Frank Gore, Mark Ingram here. So they'll CJA, maybe bottom of the RB1. Frank Gore, Mark Ingram, bottom of the RB2. That's how it's looking right now. But the big draw for him is Alshon Jeffrey. Alshon is healthy right now and is playing with a budding star in Carson Wentz. That would really balance his team out, And why would Fred do this trade? He has a bunch of running backs, and half of them are the backups to his other running backs. And one of them is an accountant. Fucking Paul Perkins, CPA. But he also has a nice brothel of wide receivers, and he doesn't hurt them much by losing Alshon. He has the depth to withstand Pryor's growing pains with Cousins, who I think is physically elite talent. He's 6'5", 230. runs a 4.4. You guys see his touchdown catch this week? It was nice. There's only more of that to come. And but what he doesn't have is a real solid running back too. He has Jordan Howard and everybody else. He has low end ones, but pairing Jordan Howard with Alshon, or pairing one of those low end twos with Alshon to upgrade to CJA is a nice move. I mean, he's 1-3. What could hurt? Not making this trade would hurt. You guys should do this trade. Ooh, and let's move on to trade number 4, where I have Reggie trading Marshawn Lynch and Devontae Parker to Angel for Demaryius Thomas and Adrian Peterson. Oh, hear me out, guys. Why would Reggie do this trade? Marshawn is not getting the volume that we thought he would. Well, that I thought he would. And Devontae Parker is sitting on his bench. Yes, buys are coming, but why not upgrade Devontae Parker to a wide receiver that has a decent floor to pair with OBJ? He has Fitz, but Fitz, he's been up and down this season, doing well so far, but I like Demaryius, even though he just had a dud game. Thomas is one of the safer bets at wide receiver, and with the injury to Dalvin Cook, I have seen with mine eyes Twitter ramblings for the Vikes to trade for Adrian Peterson. Crazy, right? With an improved line and passing game, maybe he'd be effective again. In my opinion, Demaryius is an upgrade from Parker, and Adrian Peterson, while a downgrade from Lynch, could pose to be a nice end-of-season running back if he is traded from his current team. And not even to the Vikings, but if he was traded to, someone said, Packers, I think that was Reg. And if he leaves that team, it could be a nice home run ticket, lottery ticket. I think that's what you call it. Yep. And why would Angel do this trade? He needs a running back bad. Even if Lynch isn't getting the volume that people want, it's a nice offense that should bounce back, like I said, and has the potential for something beautiful. And downgrading from Thomas to Parker isn't too bad. He loses his most consistent player, but with his record, he could use the volatility that owning a Jay Cuddy wide receiver comes with. A lineup with Baldwin, Cobb, Parker, Breeze, and Lynch is very boom or bust, because they can all really suck or all do very good. But it's better than his current lineup of meh or bust. My opinion, guys. Just my opinion. And for the final trade that I have put into my trade machine, we have Josh Del Mundo trading, listen, Kareem Hunt or Le'Veon Bell with Jarvis Landry to McHale for Melvin Gordon and Michael Thomas. Oh my goodness. Why does Josh do this trade? Why does he trade away one of Kareem Hunt or Le'Veon Bell? He has 3 strong backs. He has those 2 plus Lamar Miller, who went ham this week, but he has 0 help at wide receiver. This gives him a suitable replacement for his top running back. Let's say Le'Veon Bell, like the picture. Let's say he trades Lev. Melvin Gordon is a good replacement for him, and it gives him a bona fide number 1 receiver, albeit a lower end one. I think he'll be like 7 to 9. This also gives him more to choose from when it comes to keepers at season end, since you can't keep the same position as your franchise player. Kareem Hunt, let's say he franchises him. That means Lamar Miller's out. At least he can throw Michael Thomas into the 3 pool. You know what I'm saying? And why would McHale do this trade? After talking to this owner, as I do to everybody, I know that one of his goals is to obtain a dynasty lock. And this does that. Hunt or Bell would be an amazing addition to his team, while Landry is a decent replacement, PPR-wise, for Michael Thomas. It does weaken his wide receiver core, but he has depth in that. But it gives him a nice PPR running back duo with Hunt or Bell and Christian McCaffrey. It's one of those little things that I think would really help both teams. But, we'll see. We will see. And now, ladies and gentlemen, that is the podcast for this week. Sorry for it going a little long. It is about 25 minutes, but I thought you guys would enjoy this little trade machine special segment that I made up. And, you know, I feel like I'm some sort of a fantasy football savant sometimes. I'm not really, guys. I'm not. I just do this for fun. I get bored. I have a baby. He keeps me busy, but fantasy football is always on my mind. Alright, guys. As usual, any question, comments, concerns, hit me up. Hope you guys enjoyed this, and good luck in the upcoming weeks. Commish out.